Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here, joined by Austin Brubaker. After a crazy night in the system last night, I know you got to see Brooks Auger, young man out of Mississippi State. Got to see him shove last night. Got to see Zire Hope and Kendall George. Got to see Kendall George hit his third home run last night. We all got to see the Dodgers win an exciting. Hey, Coach Holt says it all the time. Who says a 3-0 game can't be exciting? Oh, last night was exciting. So, Austin, your thoughts on just all the action in the system last night?
Yeah, well, first off, Casey, thanks for having me. I apologize in advance. My surroundings aren't exactly the same just because I'm on location right now. But that's because there's a ton of excitement within this system. We'll get into Great Lakes in a little bit, which I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss because yesterday was a really thrilling game for them. But just overall within the system, especially with the LA Dodgers side, it's a very competitive matchup. Dodgers versus Rangers, two teams that are expected to be competing for a World Series this year. The American League's pretty wide open right now for a team like Texas, who won the World Series in 23, to go out there and go make a run for the World Series. So to see these two teams battle against each other, and for last night, for Yamamoto to step up in that stage, take advantage, and show just how dominant of a pitcher that he is. So amazing to be able to watch, and for the Dodgers to be able to scratch runs together without Shohei Ohtani, to go out there and show, even especially in that ninth inning, we'll get to that in a little bit, to go out there and get those additional insurance runs, and then the bullpen to come out there. It was a really complete game from the Dodgers, and there's a lot of excitement to talk about in the system. So it's a fun morning here to talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Boy, it's like you ran the entire gambit of emotions in that ninth inning. The Dodgers put together a great rally. Tommy Edman starts it off with the single. And, I mean, just great baseball. Winning baseball play after winning baseball play. In the ninth inning, I mean, okay, so if you had on your bingo card to begin this year, Tommy Edman was going to lead the National League in home runs. And then Max Muncy was going to make two terrific defensive plays to end the ninth inning against maybe the best team in the net. Well, it's debatable, but one of the best teams in the American League. If you have those two things on your bingo card for the Dodgers to go win in Texas, then you need to go to Vegas. You and I need to go to Vegas together, and I need to follow you around.
Yeah, no, those were not on my bingo cards. If you talked to me before the season, Tommy Edman, if you would have said Tommy Edman's going to hit 7 home runs throughout the season, I would say, okay, that might be a little bit low, but that's probably about where he's at. No, we're April 19th, and Tommy Edman is leading the National League in home runs. You did not see that coming. I did not see that coming. Nobody saw that coming from this kid, but that's what he was able to do, and he does it in a lot of different ways too. This is what is so impressive about Tommy Edman, is it's not just I'm going to go out there and hit a lot of home runs. That hasn't been part of his game. This is an added addition to go on top to a game that already was pretty complete with a lot of different elements, just putting him at a different level offensively as well as his defensive prowess. It's been amazing. And then, as you mentioned, Max Muncy, who it's been a little bit of a struggle to start this season, offensively, a little bit defensively as well, for him to be able to make those plays defensively, which we remember back to last year, made a lot of strides defensively, which was reflected in a lot of the numbers outs above average during the time when he was healthy last year. Be able to make those plays. Those were game-changing, game-saving plays by Max Muncy, the dive, and then the play to close out the game yesterday. Great job by him. And then just in that ninth inning, it was, I'm sure we'll get into this, a lot of quality at-bat baseball.
Exactly what our hot take was yesterday.
It
just
was
no empty at-bats. Even when you make an out to where it's actually advancing the cause towards scoring a run. Sacrifice flies, moving runners, that kind of thing. Not necessarily small ball, quality at bats. We saw that last night in perfection.
Yeah, you saw it last night. So it started off with Tommy Edman getting on. Then you saw MookieBetts be able to move the runner over. You got to see a whole bunch of different stuff. Teoscar Hernandez work a count, hit the base hit to the opposite way. You got to see a Conforto walk, another quality at bat. Will Smith sacrifice fly. All of these different elements coming together. That is what winning baseball it is. It is compounding quality at bats. With baseball, it is so incredibly difficult that you cannot control the outcome vast majority of the time. Unless you're hitting it consistently 500 feet, which is not going to happen, you can't really control all the time the batted ball quality. So doing what you can to have those quality at-bats, at least taking pitchers deep into counts, at least doing the little things to hit it the opposite way to advance the runners, all of those different things compound and make a difference and make an offense complete. That is what we need to see from the Dodgers if you want to see this offense reach the potential that it has. It's not necessarily one style of baseball. It's not necessarily hit a home run every single time. You're going to have some droughts. It is not necessarily small ball. Very, very difficult with the swing and miss that pitchers have in today's game to be able to consistently put together rallies and put together runs like that. You're just not going to be able to do that to the level that you want to. But if you put together enough quality at-bats and then you sprinkle in the home runs, which this team is more than capable of, you're going to have one of the best offenses in the league.
It's the formula forever. I mean, this has been a formula since Abner Doubleday invented the game. Just, hey, do something to help your team even when you're making it out. Don't have empty at-bats. No empty at-bats. No first pitch, second pitch, pop-ups to the shortstop where nobody got advanced. No easy strikeouts. You know, like the first at bat of the ninth, Tommy Edman just put pressure on the defense. Got a base hit there got a base hit to get things started. Just putting pressure on the defense. And then you mentioned the moving the runner. Yes, that's an out, but that is an out that is advancing the cause towards scoring a run because it's moving the runner and Tommy Edman. And then here's another thing that I don't know. Some people don't agree with, some do, but it's a forever formula. Some people would tell you that you only get 3 strikes. So if you're going to have a 2-strike approach, you're only actually giving yourselves 2 strikes to be aggressive with. And from an analytical perspective, that's going to make you a worse hitter. Try telling Teo Hernandez or anybody in the Dodgers system when he dumped that hit into right field on a 1-2 count last night, try telling him that a 2-strike approach in that situation where you spread out a little bit, you let the ball get deeper, and you just simply think, I'm just going to put the bat on the ball. Tell Teo Hernandez that a 2-strike approach isn't important. Sitting here Saturday morning after getting that 1-2 base hit to right field, I guarantee he would disagree on that. And then Will Smith, I think he leads the world in sacrifice flies and doing those kind of things. So we saw literally what the Dodgers need to be. We saw what they are. Conforto walked. Teo Hernandez, we've seen him a million different times, have great 2-strike approach and either hit the ball up the middle, opposite way. Tommy Edman being Tommy Edman, making winning baseball plays. MookieBetts, giving a Hall of Famer, gave himself up to the team to move a runner. So, I mean, that ninth inning was a thing of beauty, and I'll say this about Tommy Edman. He has a little guy game in him, like we've seen him execute winning baseball plays, which is kind of a little guy type of mentality, but he's actually a little guy that's not a little guy. And what I mean by that is he hits home runs too. I mean, you could not ask for more than what Tommy Edman has given this team on top of the Gold Glove caliber defense that we saw him play too, man. I mean, you literally can't say enough about what Tommy Edman's doing for this team.
You cannot say it is. You could say about a month because it started a little bit earlier, a little less than a month if you want to say that. We're not that far into the baseball season. Tommy Edman already has 1.3 WAR, according to Fangraphs, to start the season, which is on pace for a 5, 6, 7 WAR type of season, which is
that's like a $50 million player.
Yes, that is exactly right. You're talking about one of the most valuable players in the game of baseball, which is on pace. We'll see if it continues. Obviously, this power we have not seen from him before. So in order for his numbers to remain consistent, you want to see him produce with that power, but he has not stopped to this point in the season. He's been absolutely unbelievable. And I think something that you said was incredibly important. You talked a little bit about, especially at Teoscar Hernandez hitting it the opposite way, that two-strike approach. I think with baseball I think it can often go into one or two extremes, because I think the go out there and try to take advantage of all three pitches with the skill sets that you have is very important. But you also have to remember situations, and especially
Great point, Austin. Great point.
In the ninth inning, when the Dodgers needed an insurance run, you have to do whatever you can, not to try to think of big picture, but to try to do whatever you can to score that run, because that run is most important. That whatever you can to optimize and get the ability to have that run is most important, as opposed to trying to get the most runs over the scale of a long-term season, which is the emphasis behind some of the swing miss we've seen in today's game. It's because they're trying to take advantage of all three pitches and try to say, hey, if I have this swing that I have and I go out there and try to do what I can to get at those extra base hits, that's a very much a good thing. Situational baseball is still important and is still necessary in today's game. Teoscar Hernandez did that perfectly. Will Smith did that perfectly. MookieBetts did that perfectly, and that allowed the Dodgers to be able to score those runs. It's not how you can produce every single time, but during the ninth inning, when you need insurance runs, when you need those runs to be able to go and add up, that's one way that you can go ahead and do it, and the Dodgers were able to execute it yesterday.
Yeah. So let's say that Teo Hernandez has 500 at-bats. Let's say out of 150 of them, he gets to 2 strikes. And so every time he gets to 2 strikes, he has a 2-strike approach, which means he's spreading out, he's thinking opposite field, he's shortening his swing. So out of that 150 at-bats, the kind of the theory is, if I give away those 150 at-bats trying to just think contact, out of those 150 at-bats, that might be 5 home runs that I would hit if I kept my normal approach. And so the analytical aspect of it over a long run would say, I don't want to give up those 5 runs, because those 5 runs, out of the 5 runs, 3 of them might be with runners on base. And now we're talking about like a difference of 12 or 13 RBIs on the season, versus if I shorten up with 2 strikes and I just try to get on base, I'm probably going to lead to less than 12 or 13 RBIs in that same situation. I get the overall aspect of it. It makes sense from a math perspective, but you absolutely nailed it. So there's hitting, and then there's situational hitting. Situational hitting wins games on the margins. So whenever you have to win games on the margins like the Dodgers did last night, i.e. playoff games, i.e. games on the road against Texas, i.e. games when your offense isn't clicking yet and it's low scoring, then as you said just absolutely perfectly there, Austin, there are times to where even Teo Hernandez needs the situational hit. And he did. There's times where even MookieBetts needs the situational hit. There's times where Will Smith needs the situational hit. We saw all of that last night, and I love the fact that they're not. That shows they're not married just to, hey, we're going to try to score the most amount of runs over 160. They're also married to the fact that each game is built differently, and there are times to where we need a situational hit. So I thought you nailed that, Austin. Great job.
Yeah, it is about maximizing the opportunities that you have during the game. And the most important opportunities are the ones that are right in front of you, especially when you have a chance to win the game. And when it's late in the game, you do whatever you can to score as many runs as possible, which could be a little bit different than what you normally do or normally see from these guys. Still want Teoscar Hernandez to hit a lot of home runs. That's where he provides a lot of his value for this team. But in that situation, it was important to get that base hit the opposite way, or do whatever he can to make sure that runner advances and scores, and took advantage of what he got, and it worked out for the Dodgers.
Yeah, 100%. We always had a rule of thumb. We tried it, not necessarily small ball, but we play the quality of bat game, the whole game, but we tried to situationally hit or play small ball, either one, to score the first run of the game, because the first run of the game sometimes is the hardest one to score. Getting that lid off is what you call it. And then the last run of the game, whenever you need a run in the 8th or 9th inning like the Dodgers needed, that's whenever we play small ball and situational hit. So try to score the first run, get a lead, and then go to thumping. And then if that doesn't work and it's a close game, then situational hit and play small ball at the end of the game whenever you need that last run. So I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb. How about the magician? YoshinobuYamamoto, wow. I mean, I'm not sure there's many people that have ever walked the face of the earth that can do what he did last night. The best outing of his major league career, no doubt about it. 10 strikeouts, no walks, no runs. What an outing, YoshinobuYamamoto.
Yeah, Yoshi Yamamoto. I mean, what can you say about that? The outing that he had yesterday, his ability to get hitters to consistently chase, especially below the zone, and then just that art of pitching that Yoshi Yamamoto has had to start this season. It's about as good of a start to the season as you can have for him. Just absolutely unbelievable for Yoshi Yamamoto. Been the workhorse of this rotation, consistently going out there, and we've seen so much growth for him, being able to mix in all of his different pitches to get hitters out. And just from what we saw, just thinking back to his first outing in Korea last year to where he is at this point right now, it's absolutely amazing. And then you also think Dodgers have him for a long time.
Yes,
He also is. Yeah. He's also what? 26, 27 years old, something like that. This is just getting into the prime years of Yoshi Yamamoto. His stats have been unbelievable this season. 0.93 ERA, all of the FIP, expected FIP, around 2. He's got 1 WAR already to start the season, striking out 35% of hitters, walking about 6%. All of these numbers are saying Yoshi Yamamoto, one of the best pitchers in the game of baseball, and you saw all of that come together for him last night.
Fastball, of course, he threw a splitter the most, and here's the thing about him. Most pitchers have at least 3 pitches. Very, very, very few have 3 pitches that at any one given time can all be centerpieces to your mix. The splitter can be a centerpiece. The 4-seam fastball can be a centerpiece. The curveball can be a centerpiece. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And then, the underrated part of what he's done this year, he threw like 6 or 7 sliders last night, and they were all for strikes. So why is that significant? Because he's stealing strikes early in the count to get ahead with a pitch that no hitter on earth is looking for, because you're looking for the 3 centerpieces. So now he's ahead 0-1 in the count because you weren't looking for a slider, which means now he can bury the curveball. He doesn't have to throw the split finger fastball for a strike. And then that's where he gets all of his chase. So don't underrate the job that his slider does. Stealing 5, 6, 7. Those are usually strikes to begin an at bat. Don't think of 5 or 6 sliders. Thinking of it as like 5 or 6 at bats that allowed him to get ahead of really good hitters. And then here's another thing about Yamamoto. Fastball in the zone 63% of the time. It is like clockwork with this dude. When his 4-seam's in the zone 60 to 65% of the time, it's like a magic zone for this guy, because I say it all the time, he's in the zone enough to get ahead, especially when you add that slider that he steals strikes with, and then he'll steal strikes with his curveball too. But it's not so much to where it's in hittable locations and he becomes a guy that hitters get. He's throwing so many strikes that hitters get comfortable and can ambush him. So 63% of the time, his fastball's in the zone. That's the magic number. He threw the splitter the most, 3 centerpiece type pitches, stole enough strikes with the slider to get into plus counts to allow him to get chased with his nasty stuff. Wow. We've said the blueprint for him has been there for several different outings now. Incredible what Yamamoto did.
Yeah, it is incredible because of what he's able to do with the fastball, because he's able to steal strikes with the slider. That forces hitters to expand the zone.
Yes.
And we saw that repeatedly yesterday, especially below the zone. That's where his splitter, that's where his curveball below the zone can be absolutely lethal. That's where he can steal a strikeout up in the zone with his fastball because he's working down in the zone. That's where he can use his full arsenal of pitches so effectively well. Yoshi Yamamoto was the complete package yesterday, and this is just the start of the 2025 season of what could be a incredibly memorable year for Yoshi Yamamoto. Great start for him.
How cool did it have to be for Kirby Yates to go back and shove against his former team, the Texas Rangers? And it's like, All right, boys, here's some 92, 93. Get you some of that. They can't hit it. And it's like, the other team in the dugout's like, how's this sumbitch getting us out with 92, 93 over and over? Of course, we know it's the splitter, but I just love watching Kirby Yates because it's just like, here's my 92, 93, baby. Let's see if you can hit it. And nobody ever can. So that was a lot of fun for me.
Oh, yeah. No, especially whenever you get to go against your former club, there seems to be a little bit of added motivation behind that. We saw this, unfortunately, against the Dodgers for a player like a Michael Busch. He just went off against the Los Angeles Dodgers. One, because he's a great hitter. Also, that added motivation that's put behind that. We got to see that on the plus side with Kirby Yates. And Kirby Yates, let's look a small look at some of the numbers that he's put up this year in 10 innings. His strikeout percentage right now, 50%. Striking out 50% of hitters. I would say that's probably pretty good. And
92, 93, baby.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah, 92, 93 with what he's able to do. And there's an argument, well, he's not the closer. He didn't come in to close the game. He was just the 8th inning guy. And there's other guys that are put behind him. All the other numbers, obviously that 50% strikeout percentage is going to boost up the numbers. He's been absolutely unbelievable, Kirby Yates. And that added motivation to go against the Rangers, woo! That's great to see.
11 pitches, 6 of them were splitters, 7 were strikes. Struck out the first and last hitter he faced, and then had a 14-mile-an-hour bunt. So I get a kick out of this. For modern day analytics, advanced analytics guys, the average exit velo, not only the 50% strikeout rate, the average exit velo last night for Kirby Yates, you know what it was?
What was that?
14 miles an hour. That I get a kick out of that stat because he had 2 strikeouts and a bunt base hit. So out of the whole 3 outs, out of the whole entire outing, average exit velo for Kirby Yates, 14 miles an hour. Put that one in the bank with his 92, 93. Okay, so it was a crazy ending. Tanner Scott, I've been saying I like him as a closer. I think it just locks him in a little bit more. I know Mark Watkins, one of our new co-hosts, that's going to cover some of the Rancho stuff. He mentioned the other day that it just feels like the adrenaline of the moment kind of locks him in. We know that Tanner Scott can kind of float in and out of the strike zone from time to time, and that's a little bit sometimes nerve-wracking. Last night was, a night to where it was not comfortable at all. You had to have a couple of great plays from Max Muncy. Of course, you had the 3-run lead. The 2 runs in the top of the ninth gave you the insurance to feel a little bit better about it. But where are we at with Tanner Scott? Again, got the job done last night, was totally dominant the night before. And I'll say this, back-to-back nights, very rarely do guys ever throw on 3 days in a row. I think Evan Phillips has done it like 4 times in his entire Dodgers career, so we won't see him tonight. So what do you think about Tanner Scott in the closer role back-to-back nights?
Yeah, so that was obviously interesting. You want to test these guys. You want to see how they're able to do. So I think putting him in that situation, just like what we saw with Evan Phillips down on his rehab outing, going from a night game to a day game, back-to-back days, I think is an important thing to be able to do. With Tanner Scott, what's interesting about him with the numbers is it is a completely different start of the season than what it was last year. Yes. And doesn't mean that it's necessarily he's not necessarily struggling, or he's struggling perhaps in different ways. To start the season, he's giving up a little bit more base hits than what he's normally accustomed to. But what's fascinating about it is
overall hard contact, not just base hits.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting about that is overall during his first 11 innings, which is so different than what it was last year, 0 walks. He has not walked anybody to start the season, which is so different because last year what it was is he was able to get a lot of swing and miss, but he was walking every single hitter, which I think means that you probably haven't seen completely the best version of Tanner Scott.
The mix between the two.
Yes, because there's a mix and a focus between the two, between trying to avoid as much contact as you possibly can, get that strikeouts, which he's gotten a decent amount, is about 24%, but that can go up for a guy like Tanner Scott and what we've seen, while also trying to limit some of the walks. So he's been limiting the walks incredibly effectively to start the season, but he's giving up a little bit more base hits, which I think comes from refining his pitch mix, finding what's going to work with him to start this season. And I think as we go throughout the season, the track record for Tanner Scott is so good. There's a reason why the Dodgers, who never go out and pay big money for a reliever, went out and paid big money for this reliever, for Tanner Scott. It's because his track record shows that he's just that good. But to this point of the season, despite the contact that he's given up, 2.45 ERA, FIP 2.40, expected FIP 2.14, in part because he has not given up a walk yet.
Yeah.
Not bad numbers for Tanner Scott so far, who, if you look at the expected ERA because of the hard contact, a little bit higher than that.
Yeah, 100%. So tonight, Roki Sasaki, Nathan Eovaldi. Eovaldi's in the Dodgers system in 2011, and he kind of seems like a guy, his name floats around every now and then, but Dodgers fans like, oh, it'd kind of be neat to go get Nathan Eovaldi back to the Dodgers system. So in a kind of a weird way, he's a familiar name for Dodgers fans, for people who follow Dodgers baseball. Going to be an exciting one tonight. So final thoughts before we take our trip down the farm on the Los Angeles game.
Yeah, so first off, the game that they just had Friday night, really exciting game. I'm excited to see just another one of these steps for Roki Sasaki, to see this continued development for him. It's been a little bit on and off for him, depending on how things are going with the fastball. So another step in this journey. And to go against a professional pitcher like Nathan Eovaldi, who's been in the league for a long time, who has played important roles on teams that have been incredibly successful, going to be a big outing for not just Roki Sasaki, but the Dodgers as well. It's highly competitive baseball. You want these games to continue throughout the season, go up against these tough tests. Last night, they got to go up against one of the best pitchers of his generation in Jacob deGrom. They get another good test against a guy that has been there and done it for a long time. So I'm excited to see what the Dodgers are able to do tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, it was a lot of fun. It was a fun game. The Dodgers are winning games in whichever ways they have to. So, Austin, ready to take a trip out on the farm?
Absolutely.
Welcome to Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. Casey Porter here. Hey, Austin Brubaker is going to stay with us for the Down on the Farm segment here Saturday morning in the big town. Who you're seeing on the screen here is Brooks Auger. Austin, you got to see yet the next great performance for this young man out of Mississippi State. What an awesome job he does. So four-seam cutter, change-up, slider, curve, 5-pitch mix. He tops at 97. The fastball you're seeing there is 94, 95. The curveball was big. Four-seam rode the top of the zone. Slider stole strikes. Fastball locations were excellent. So see that great fastball location. So basically what you got with Brooks Auger, a guy with great experience, Mississippi State. He was a big part of their College World Series championship. A guy with 5 pitches, so he has a big mix, good fastball, all that kind of stuff, but he has very much so an execution focus. Reminds me a lot of Jared Karros. So when you have great stuff with an execution focus, you get what you got last night for Brooks Auger.
What can you say about Brooks Auger? I've had the privilege to be able to, in person, watch all 3 of his outings to start the season. And each one, I've been so incredibly impressed. I think you stated it in one of your posts that you had. It's the art of pitching.
Yes.
It is being able to utilize all of your different pitches, not necessarily with the end goal every single time of striking every single hitter out, but to go out there and get outs and to get a little bit deep in the game and maneuvering all of the different pitches. He has mastered this craft through the first 3 starts of his professional career. It's been absolutely amazing. Just gave up 1 run yesterday, which was his first run that he has given up during his entire time in Great Lakes. He's gone at least 5 innings during each of those starts. It's been absolutely unbelievable for Brooks Auger. And let's keep this in mind with the pitching matchup, because this game, the Loons game, was highlighted across minor league baseball as a game to watch because of a great pitching matchup. Brooks Auger, who you are seeing, outdueled the number 2 pick in the 2024 draft with Chase Burns of the Cincinnati Reds organization of the Dayton Dragons. He outdueled him. He outpitched him and had an incredibly impressive outing. The pitch mix that you are just seeing right here is really impressive. A ton to be able to build off of for Brooks Auger, who could be one of those steals in the 2024 draft.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100%. Great job there. Austin. Just a lot of fun to watch Auger pitch because, again, it's in the modern. Hey, he has the stuff that we saw right there. You saw it. He has the stuff that at times can blow hitters away, but that's not the focus. The focus is pitching, and so that's what's fun about him. And I'll tell you another guy that's a lot of fun, El Labranita, Robinson Ortiz, young man with Carlos Duran, was a big deal like back in 2021, but just Tommy John surgery has never been able to stay healthy. He's finally starting to stack outings on top of each other. And all Robinson Ortiz needs, he has that big sweeping slider, is just to stay healthy, and he'll get back to see that little sweeper there. He'll get back to being the Robinson Ortiz that was such a big deal 4 or 5 years ago. So it's super exciting to see Robinson Ortiz doing a very good job staying healthy, scoreless last 2 out of his 3 outings, allowed just 1 run in his last 5 innings. So you can kind of see this flower budding right now. We're waiting for it to fully blossom at Robinson Ortiz.
Yeah, but you are starting to see some of the fruits of just all of the work that he has put in over the past couple of years when he's been off the shelf, just really starting to bloom for him. Been a little bit slow start, not just for him, but for most of the Loons pitching staff. But he went out there and he had a really good performance, bridging to the end part of the game for Robinson Ortiz. Pitched 2 1/3 innings, and it was 2 1/3 effective innings. I believe the previous outing that he had, I don't remember if it was early in the week or late last week, had 5 strikeouts as part of that. He still has the swing and miss stuff, as you can see. He's got some really solid stuff. It's great to see him back, and I'm excited to see him continue to work through all of just what it takes to come back and find that consistency again when he's been out of baseball for so long.
Yeah. You know, with all the publicity of Kendall George and Zire Hope, Josue de Paula, which is all warranted because those are 3 just super exciting players, great players. Carlos Rojas, the young man out of Barquisimeto, Venezuela, quietly has been, Nelson Quiros has been the best hitter on the team, small sample size, and then Zire Hope. But Carlos Rojas has been like one of the most valuable hitters on this team. This is a young man. Look how quiet his swing is, how direct he is to that inside pitch. And then the thing I really love about Carlos Rojas is that he just wears out that gap-to-gap approach. He uses the big part of the field, really just kind of simple swing, strong young man. Carlos Rojas, man, he's been so underrated because of all the publicity of the guys in the Loons. 286, OPS of 800, big 2-run home run last night.
Yeah, it was a big. I think it was just a solo shot that he had yesterday, but still a really good.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it might have been. I think it was a 2 RBI.
Yes,
double
the double
well.
right here. Yeah.
Yes. Let's just talk just overall. The Loons catching situation has been amazing so far. You have 2 guys that are underrated within the system, to say the least, because of the guys that have been through the Loons as far as catchers. You had Diego Cartaya come up when he was the top prospect, Dalton Rushing, you had Tyrone Lorenzo, Jesus Galiz was there last year, and he was very much still highly touted. And then you have under the radar Nelson Quiros and Carlos Rojas, and they are going out there and just performing absolutely amazing. You mentioned Nelson Quiros. We talked about him before. Carlos Rojas really shined during the game yesterday, 2 RBI double to extend the lead. And then last night you had the home run, which no idea. When
how to stay fair.
When it came off the bat, I thought there was no chance that was going to be a fair ball. Then
kind of like the Josh Young hit to end the game last night for Texas.
Yes,
it's like, how is that a fair ball?
Exactly. Exactly. And that it was a holy cow, he hit that out. And it was amazing to be able to see that, which shows just how much power he has. He has that gap to gap type of power, but he's able to go out there and he's still got some pop in his bat as well. Underrated as far as this team, which I know we will get to some of the other guys because there are some other home runs that were hit, and there is a game that deserves to be highlighted. Carlos Rojas, his game that he had yesterday should not go under the radar.
No, absolutely not. And I just like the setup. I like the way that he stays middle of the field. I like the direct path to the inside pitch. And so I think it's repeatable, which means I think this isn't just, hey, yeah, he's having a good start of the year. We'll see. I think he has a chance to be consistent. How about this young man? Hey, we talked to Kendall George in the offseason, And he said, hey, I'm trying to get the ball in the air a little bit more. You can tell that he's definitely bulked up. How about the third home run of the season for the young man? Now, we don't want his game to be focused around hitting home runs and hitting the ball in the air. And I think that one might have been a little bit windblown last night, but that's okay. But Kendall George, 3 home runs already for the Dodgers' #1 pick from 2023.
Yeah, you did not see this coming. So this was the first at-bat of the game. This is the first Loons chance.
Off of, who is the pitcher?
It was off of the #2 pick in the 2024 draft, Chase Burns.
Yeah.
And Kendall George went out there and started the game off with a home run, which I believe did he just have 1 home run during the entire season?
Last year, it's it. But it was a tank. It was at Stockton, and he hit it like all the way over there. So you could see the power was there. It's just a matter of getting it in the air. 1 home run, that was it.
And now he has 3 home runs, and we're just 2 weeks into the Loons season. Kendall George is showcasing this power. I think it's great. He also had another base hit, I believe. Yeah, had a walk as well, as able to get on base. It's not a focus of Kendall George, but if he could add this as part of his element, that's just another tool that he can be able to utilize. Kendall George, it was a little bit slow to start the season, is really starting to pick it up and is already based off, despite the slow start, is WRC plus is 115 with what he's able to do. He's really starting to get it rolling a little bit and starting to put together more quality at bats, which is great to see. Right. Another base hit as well.
The consistency is what you're wanting to see from him, and I think adding strength will help with that. How about the tank, Zire Hope? My gosh, this dude. Of course, he struck out a couple times trying to hit another one of those last night. The strikeouts were more entertaining to me than the home runs, because it's like, woo! If he'd have hit that one, I'd have felt sorry for that baseball. He's even fun to watch swing and miss. That's how much fun Zire Hope is.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. So Zire Hope, what a game yesterday. So it started off with a home run against Chase Burns for Kendall George. Josue de Paula works a great at-bat to get a walk, to put a runner on for Zire Hope. And then you bring this kid up, Zire Hope, against Chase Burns. He goes out there and hits a home run to center field. I think that's the second home run of the day, because Zire Hope was not just satisfied with 1 home run. Yeah. He added in a second home run to what has been an absolutely unbelievable start to his high A career thus far. Let me read you off some of the numbers so far. 353 batting average, 450 on base percentage. He's walking about 15% of the time. 706 slugging for an OPS of 1156.
Wow.
He 353 ISO, a 216 WRC plus. He leads the Midwest League in weighted runs above average, which is one of those statistics, cumulative statistics based on what you are able to produce offensively. Home runs, he's already at 4 home runs for the season. Strikeout percentage is only at 23%, so it's not an absorbently insane amount of strikeouts that he's doing to produce this offensive component. It's been incredibly impressive for Zire Hope during his first 2 weeks. And you talk about a kid who is still incredibly young for his age. That's something to keep in mind about this Loons offense. A lot of these guys are much younger than the league average for high A baseball.
Yeah, right.
And they are still going out there and producing and being one of, if not the best offenses in the Midwest League, in part because of the contributions of Zire Hope. So I still think he's going to get a little bit of time down in high A, because it's only been 2 weeks, and these guys typically get some time in order to continue to produce down there, to go through additional challenges. But we got to see some more additional challenges, and to go up against the #2 pick in the draft last year is a really good challenge for Zire Hope to be able to go and overcome. So I'm continue to be excited to watch Zire Hope go out there and produce, and we'll see how fast the Dodgers decide to move him. Hopefully it's after at least a first hatch clinch for the Loons to get to the playoffs, but we'll see.
Yeah. So we're going to go down to Single A, Rancho Cucamonga, and I have not had a chance actually to watch that game yet. It was so late with the Dodgers and everything going on Friday night. I did not have a chance to even. I'm going to watch that as soon as we get off of here. So I will bring you the Down Farm on last night's game for tomorrow. This is Mike Sirota. What I want to show you here, look how direct he is to that inside pitch. See how direct to that baseball. the people that say you swing up at the inside pitch and all this, and that you can't take a direct path to the ball. You can't. Well, Mike Sirota would disagree with you because you can see right there that is the most direct path you can possibly take to an inside pitch. And you know who else would disagree? Right here, check out this. That's Sirota. That's the same swing on the right for Sirota. You know who that is on the left? That is the Hall of Famer Paul Molitor. So to me, as soon as the first time I saw Mike Sirota hit, it was like I was going back into my childhood or my younger days. I was like, that's Paul Molitor hitting. I mean, that literally is Paul Molitor all over again. So I just I got bored and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just going to put Molitor and Sirota next to each other. I mean, now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Sirota is going to be Paul Molitor. That's not what I'm trying to say. But they have literally identical swings. And you know what everybody has always said about Paul Molitor, new school, old school. What they've always said about Paul Molitor is that he just has like the most simple swing. It's just, hey, literally take the most direct path to the baseball, simplify everything, and just hit the middle of the ball and hit line drives. So if you like the way that Paul Molitor just set up and the way that his style of hitting, then you're going to really like Mike Sirota because it is a carbon copy of Paul Molitor. So I will get to the Rancho Cucamonga game on tomorrow's Down on the Farm, probably tomorrow's live show. Cody Morris had a nice game. Eduardo Quintero had a nice game. And Sean Lignon was really, really good. And we'll get to that. But your overall thoughts on Mike Sirota to this point, Austin?
Yeah, obviously I've not had a ton of chance to be able to watch him, but he's producing right now. The guy that the Dodgers got, one of the guys that the Dodgers got in Gavin Lux trade, we have yet to see who they will get, who they will draft for the compensation pick that they got as well. Producing incredibly well. Just looking at some of the numbers that he's put up. Batting .344, 400, .563 slugging percentage, 157 WRC plus. That will play. Mike Sirota,
absolutely will.
He's hitting really well to start the season. Great to see.
All right, let's move up to Double-A Tulsa. Our good buddy, Jose Ramos. My gosh, it's been a struggle for him. It was so nice to see him have 2 home runs last night, including a grand slam. Tulsa was down 6-2. Actually, yeah, 6-2, and he hit a grand slam to tie the game. And he hit 2 home runs. You saw this one there. So he hit the home run to make it 6-2. Then he hit a grand slam to make it 6-6. And then Janier Fernandez had the walk-off. So super exciting. And here's what you need to know about Ramos. Swings and misses way too much. We've said that many different times. We're not going to hide from that. But when he's hitting the ball opposite field, see how deep he has to let that get? When he lets it get deep like that, opposite field, that keeps him from pulling off the ball. And he has so much power. It's good. It's not good just to see him hit the 2 home runs. It's good to see him go the other way at the ball because that tells you he's letting the ball get deep and he's not pulling off the ball. So good night for Jose Ramos.
Good night for Jose Ramos, and I think it was what you saw right there. Not only bases loaded grand slam, but 0-2 count too with the guy who swings and misses quite a bit with the Drillers down by 4 and needing that moment. Just a big moment for Jose Ramos. And you hope that this is a launching pad for him to continue to go out there and produce. You see 2 home runs the opposite way. This is the power. These are the tools that Jose Ramos has always had. It's always about finding that consistency. But this is a really good sign for Jose Ramos to be able to go out there to produce against a highly competitive game against a Wichita team in which there's a lot of players on the Drillers team that have a lot of history with not just Wichita, but with the players that are on that team and just that system against Minnesota, obviously dating back to 23 with the championship between Great Lakes and Cedar Rapids, which is these 2 affiliates. So very competitive games, and it's really good to see this Drillers team start to get on track to start this season and start putting some wins together.
It is. Carbon copy, Damon Keith. Exact same. Of course, he pulled this ball. But exact same story as Damon Keith. He gets pull happy, it's Jose Ramos. He gets pull happy when he does that. He swings straight up at the baseball. His front shoulder goes flying. His helmet comes flying off the top of his head. You've seen that before. And he swings and misses a lot. So what you're getting ready to see here from Damon Keith, yes, that pull side home run is nice, but it's not like down the left field line. He hit that to right center because he has this approach right here. He's trying to let the ball get deeper and thinking right center. Coach Holt says it all the time, opposite field gap. that keeps a guy like Damon Keith, who has a lot of upward plane to his swing. If you have a lot of upward plane and you try to hit the ball out front too much trying to pull the ball, it's just mathematically, you just do the angles. If you're good at geometry, those angles don't match. So you have to let the ball get deep, even when you're pulling the ball. And we saw that last night from Damon Keith. Good to see him have a good night. DK, starting to get hot.
He's starting to get hot. And the more that you let DK get hot, he's going to go out there and absolutely shove. I'm excited to see DK continue to go out there, produce. You saw that home run. He's got a ton of power. Damon Keith he's always had that type of power, but to see him to go out there to stay healthy, that's what you want to hope for Damon Keith, because the longer he's able to stay healthy, he's got all of the different tools to be out there and be a really good hitter. Damon Keith, I think, is just going to get better and better as he goes along, and the more that he plays out there.
We're going to move now up to our AAA part of this, and this is old Wardo, a good old friend of ours, been on the show many different times. 2 more hits last night for Wardo, 333 OPS, 875, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs. He scored 11 times. I'm telling you, I've been saying it for a long time. I'm not sure that Ryan Ward doesn't have the best hitting tool of all of the Dodgers prospects that have come up, not necessarily on the lower levels now, but of this recent wave that includes like Andy Pages and Altman and all that. I'm not sure Ryan Ward doesn't have the best hit tool out of all of them. This guy's having a great year. Hey, I told him at the first workout, 30 home runs, 275. We can get there.
Yeah, and he can absolutely get there. Ryan Ward he's just going out there and being consistent. He can't control the situation where he's at, in which case he is very much blocked by the players that the Dodgers have acquired and by the position in which he plays, which is corner outfield, maybe a little bit at first base. You have guys that are locked up in those spots, but continue to go out there and produce like Ryan Ward has. Continue with that positive mindset, positive energy. Some team's going to take a chance on Ryan Ward because he is too talented to continue to go out there and produce the way that he has. At some point, he's going to get his opportunity, and when that comes, we're going to celebrate.
No doubt about that. And we're going to finish our Down the Farm show here. Matt Sauer. Hey, Matt Sauer's fastball is legit. I mean, when you look from a metrical perspective, the spin rate on it matched with the velo is really good, and he's just now getting stretched out. So pitch count, 68 pitches. The pitch count was probably 65, maybe 70. I don't know that, but that's kind of where he was at. 3.2 innings pitched for Matt Sauer, 4 hits, 1 run, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. The pitching version of Eddie Rosario, we've talked I don't know how many times about Eddie Rosario on this show, that the way that Eddie Rosario makes hitting look easy, who, by the way, got some at-bats last night, there was no way he wasn't going to be a factor with L.A. He's too good of an offensive player, and we saw that yesterday. I'm kind of in the same boat here with Matt Sauer. His fastball metrics are too good. He has too good of experience. He's executing. He's up to 70 pitches, and he threw a ton of cutters. His cutter touched 91 miles an hour last night. So he's throwing major league stuff to home plate right now, and he's executing. He's getting the results. ERA 154, whip of 077, average against of 190. I think when the Dodgers feel comfortable with him from a health, you can see he's happy with his performance there. From a health perspective and pitch count perspective, I think he's going to be a player here if the Dodgers need somebody like we've seen him pull up Landon-Knack, Robleski, and the younger guys.
Yes, no, he absolutely is. With the limited amount of times that you can option guys up and down throughout the system, that means that especially if they're going to send back guys after 1 start or 2 starts, like we've seen with the Robleski, with the Knack, and what they just did with Bobby Miller, just calling up. I believe it was Noah Davis they called up to the big leagues. You're going to see a guy like Matt Sauer, who is part of this 40-man roster, in part because they can option him down in the minor leagues and then call him up as needed. He's going to play a factor, and you will see Matt Sauer in the big leagues with the Dodgers probably several different times throughout the course of this season. He is going to play a pretty crucial role in bridging some of those innings. So the more success that he can have down at the minor leagues, the more comfortable that he can get, the more confident the Dodgers are going to be when they need some innings to fill out, that they can give it to him to make sure that the load of all of the different pitches throughout the regular season do not all fall on the pitching staff that they are expecting to be there for October. He's going to play a very crucial role to continue to allow this Dodgers team to be able to succeed. And as we've seen with some guys, that is their expectation. If he goes out there and executes and performs, they will try to find some sort of role for him, just like they've done with guys like an Anthony Bonda last year. With
Brent
other
Honeywell.
guys that they brought. They've done it with a lot of different guys. So keep an eye out for this guy and continue to watch to see how he does, because you will see him in LA again this year.
Okay, Austin, this has been a lot of fun. Great show. A great night in the system last night. It was just a lot of fun to watch all of the action. So, hey, here we're about to get off the air here. So, final thoughts.
Yeah, it's a super fun night in the system, across the entire system. Continue to watch the organization go out there in full force. Obviously, it starts with the Dodgers win. You'd love to see that. The style of baseball that they had, the dominant pitching, situational hitting, just good fundamental baseball. Then across the system, all of the different performances. The walk-off from Yainer Fernandez in Tulsa. You talk about the great outing, the great matchup with Great Lakes. I will be back there today, so I'll get a chance to be able to watch. I believe it's Peyton Martin is getting the starts.
Nice.
Hopefully he gets his season starting to roll a little bit. Just fun action all across, up and down this system. Continue to watch the Dodgers baseball, because it's just excitement right now across the league as baseball is just starting to get on a roll.
All right, Austin, thanks, man. Austin, the Dodgers win last night. It's Roki Sasaki tonight against Nathan Eovaldi, and all of the affiliates are in action as well tonight again. So for Austin Brubaker, I'm Casey Porter. I want to thank you for tuning in, and as always, it's a great day to be a Dodger.